just three things I thought I would bring to council's attention tonight.
Is this Mr. Saig? I'm sorry. This is on something that's not on the agenda tonight. This is something separate.
Correct.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Okay. Firstly, there's been a sidewalk repair going along Lincoln Avenue for some time. The pavers haven't been put back in. I have two new tenants at Galleria that are going to be trying to open, one on November 18th and one hopes to open November 28th. So I've just been kind of in the unpleasant circumstance of having my tenant trying to make things look good and build his business up and start taking inventory in. And it looks terrible with sawhorses and brick left out of the sidewalk. And frankly, it's not safe. So the second thing is I get several different tax bills in Winnetka. I own different types of property, different classes of property. At Galleria, an occupied commercial condominium in my building. First of all, the taxes just went above $10 a square foot. Okay, I don't claim to be a novice real estate investor. I have a real good old dyed-in-the-wool Irish real estate tax attorney who does a phenomenal job for me, but that's where it lies right now. Okay, and my point's twofold in telling you that. One, my vacant condos are at $2.50 a square foot. It's all well and good to have restrictions. It's all well and good to make it difficult to find tenants and what are the right ones and to have special use process that make it difficult. But this is an unsustainable circumstance on two fronts. One, giving up $7.50 a square foot of tax revenue that you would have. Okay? And I remind you that we are a net payer. We don't take the 55% of the resources back out by having kids go to New Trier in most of our cases. The second thing that I'll say about it is this now, to my mind, having my pulse on what real estate rents are in this area, is now constituting anywhere from 50%, 25 to 50% of the total reasonable rental rate that somebody could have here. Okay, you have to juxtapose that against tenants. Very difficult to imagine most of them being able to either handle that pass-through, which means we as landlords are going to eat more and more of that, or be able to sell enough goods and services to support that kind of rental number. So on the eve that you decide to pass a property maintenance code, I'm telling you, I do not feel that you guys had the moral position to impose another set of regulations on landlords with taxes at $10 a square foot, okay? And with the current economic situation that we're in. And you can cloak it in health and welfare and public safety as much as you want, but the fact is most of us maintain the heck out of our properties. So, you're going to resurrect this maintenance code. I know you're going to hear from the same people, hey, fix the sewers, fix the sewers, fix the sewers. But you're in an unsustainable economic situation here. And that will also compound when you talk about your sales tax situation. Something that costs nothing. I'm not talking about streetscape and I'm not talking about infrastructure, both of which are needed, is revisiting a few permitted uses. I like to be very specific in how I ask for help. Okay? I was at those 2005 BCDC meetings when there was not one landlord on that BCDC calling for a property maintenance code or talking about the retail overlay district. Frankly, if it were 10 landlords sitting on that committee, you'd have a very different response. But we're supposed to have balanced ones. When they reviewed uses, okay, there are two in particular that I get phone call after phone call after phone call to have in my spaces that get scared away and scared away and scared away. And the worst part is I'm seeing them turn up in Kenilworth. If you've driven through Kenilworth lately, Kenilworth's looking pretty darn good right now. What's frustrating to me is you go to any neighborhood, any high-end neighborhood in the city or other northern suburban communities, and you see yoga and Pilates studios, 2, 3, a great proliferation of them on every block, including Glencoe. 2 that opened in Kenilworth that are heartbreakers for me. One is called the Daily Method, and one is called Yoga View. As a commercial owner in Hubbard Woods, we are trying to pitch Hubbard Woods with some sort of momentum, present it in some sort of meaningful and acceptable light to the commercial brokerage community. I'm going to try and be brief here, but when I have Pagoda Red down the street, and they're a premier Bucktown retailer, okay, and I could have had the Daily Method in my building, but for your signage code does not permit me to have a non-street level user to have signage, let alone that use should be on the street and should be permitted. We are outliers in not permitting that. That frustrates me because it not only creates a vacancy in my building, but it creates a problem for the branding of Hubbard Woods, okay? The branding of Hubbard Woods. And it's very difficult for us to, without streetscape, without signage, to privately try and brand a mercantile district is hard. So it frustrates me that 2005 BCDC and everything that went on afterwards did not permit that use. Because the fact of the matter is, that is today's hair salon. The hair salon that doesn't generate sales tax, that was an approved use, that's what it is today. Okay, that's where people go to congregate and seek out health and beauty. The second is designer, medical, and dental spas. Okay, these are frankly already defined as permitted uses. During a special use process I brought up for a pediatrician, the front use, we'll try and bring it to a close.
Yeah,
the
we've got some more
pediatrician
cases.
was defined. But it is very important. I would not be asking you for these things if I wasn't tangibly seeing a problem with them being that way. The last thing that I'll ask, so I'd please ask you to direct BCDC to look at those two uses. The last thing I'll ask, and I'll leave it at that, is for 2 years I've been asking the Design Review Board to look at its signage code a little bit differently. I'm happy to email you in the interest of time what I would ask that the council direct the Design Review Board to do. Now, this is not something that will cost the village money. So I think I'm being very reasonable in taking this occasion to ask.
It's fine, and please send a follow-up email.
I sure will.
Send it to
You can
Rob,
send
he'll
it to me.
circulate.
You have my email
Yeah,
address.
to everybody, and then we'll take a look at it.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you, Jim.